Welcome to the Stories of Our Days channel. Carla had always been a strict mother, but she loved her daughter more than anything in the world. She had raised her alone, working hard to provide her with everything she needed, and she was proud of the young woman she had become. One day, as Carla was doing the laundry, she noticed some strange stains on her daughter's dress. She frowned, wondering what could have caused them. Maybe she had spilled something while she was out with her friends the night before. Carla decided to confront her daughter about it. "Honey, what happened to your dress?" she asked when she saw her later that day. "What do you mean, Mom?" her daughter replied innocently. "The stains on your dress. They look strange," Carla said, her voice rising a little. "Oh, those. I don't know. I guess I spilled something," her daughter said with a shrug. Carla didn't believe her. She was sure her daughter was lying, and she was angry. She scolded her, telling her she needed to be more careful with her clothes, and reminding her of how much money she had spent on that dress. Her daughter looked ashamed, and Carla felt a twinge of guilt for being so harsh. She softened her tone and told her she loved her, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Later that night, Carla was watching TV when she remembered the stains on her daughter's dress. She couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to them than just a spilled drink. She got up and went to her daughter's room, looking for the dress. When she found it, she examined the stains more closely. They were dark and circular, almost like bruises. Carla's heart raced as she realized what they were. She turned pale and felt sick to her stomach. The stains on her daughter's dress were unmistakable. They were bruises, and not just any bruises. They were the kind of bruises that come from being hit or grabbed forcefully. Carla couldn't believe it. Her mind raced as she tried to figure out what had happened to her daughter. Was she being abused by someone? Was it a boyfriend? A friend? A stranger? She felt overwhelmed with fear and anger. How could she have missed this? How could she have not seen that her daughter was in pain? Carla went to her daughter's room and woke her up. "What happened?" she demanded, her voice shaking. "What are you talking about?" her daughter asked, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. "The bruises on your dress. Who did this to you?" Carla said, her voice rising. Her daughter looked confused for a moment, then her face fell. "Oh, those. It was nothing, Mom. Just a stupid game we were playing." Carla didn't believe her. She knew her daughter was lying. She demanded the truth, her voice getting louder and more insistent. Finally, her daughter broke down and told her everything. She had been at a party with her friends, and they had been playing a game where they had to slap each other's arms. It had started out as a joke, but then things had gotten out of hand. One of her friends had slapped her too hard, leaving a bruise. Then another friend had done the same thing, and another, and another. By the end of the game, her arms were covered in bruises. Carla felt a mix of relief and anger. She was glad her daughter wasn't being abused by someone, but she was furious that her daughter's friends had hurt her so badly. She hugged her daughter tightly, telling her how much she loved her, and how sorry she was for not realizing what was happening. The next day, Carla went to see the parents of the friends who had hurt her daughter. She was determined to make them understand how serious the situation was and to make sure it never happened again. She sat down with each of them, explaining what had happened and showing them the bruises on her daughter's arms. Some of the parents were shocked and apologetic, while others were defensive and dismissive. Carla didn't back down. She told them that what had happened was unacceptable, and that she expected them to take action to prevent it from happening again. She also made it clear that she would be monitoring her daughter's interactions with their children from now on. Over the next few weeks, Carla watched her daughter closely. She made sure she wasn't hiding any other bruises or injuries, and she talked to her about what had happened and how to prevent it in the future. Her daughter was grateful for her support, but also embarrassed and ashamed. She didn't want to be seen as a victim or a troublemaker, and she begged her mother not to make a big deal out of it. Carla listened to her daughter's concerns, but she also knew that it was important to take a stand against violence and bullying. She talked to her daughter about the importance of setting boundaries and standing up for herself, and she encouraged her to speak out if something like this ever happened again. In the end, Carla's daughter learned a valuable lesson about the importance of self-respect and standing up for what is right. And Carla learned that sometimes, even the people we love the most can be hiding painful secrets. It was a difficult and emotional experience, but it brought them closer together and made them stronger as a family. Carla's daughter had always been a bit of a rebellious teenager. She was smart and funny, but also stubborn and impulsive. Carla had always admired her daughter's independence, but she also worried about her safety. After the incident with her daughter's friends, Carla became even more vigilant. She didn't want her daughter to get hurt again, and she didn't want her to fall into bad company. But it wasn't easy. Her daughter resented her for being overprotective, and they argued frequently about her curfew and her friends. One night, her daughter came home late, drunk and disheveled. Carla was furious. She yelled at her daughter, demanding to know where she had been and who she had been with. Her daughter pushed back, yelling back at her mother. They both said things they didn't mean, and the argument escalated into a full-blown shouting match. Finally, Carla's daughter stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind her. Carla was left alone, feeling exhausted and defeated. She didn't know what to do. She loved her daughter so much, but she also knew that she needed to set boundaries and enforce rules. The next morning, Carla woke up early, determined to make amends with her daughter. She went to her daughter's room and knocked on the door, but there was no answer. She opened the door and saw that her daughter wasn't there. She searched the house, but her daughter was nowhere to be found. Carla's heart sank. She had no idea where her daughter was or if she was safe. She called her daughter's friends, but no one had seen her. She spent the whole day searching for her daughter, driving around the city, calling her phone, and asking everyone she knew if they had seen her. Finally, late at night, Carla got a call from her daughter. She was at a friend's house, safe and sound. Carla rushed to pick her up, relieved and overjoyed to see her daughter again. They hugged and cried, and Carla apologized for being so overprotective and controlling. Her daughter apologized too, admitting that she had been hanging out with the wrong crowd and making bad decisions. She promised to be more responsible and to make better choices in the future. It wasn't an easy road, but Carla and her daughter worked through their issues and found a way to trust each other again. They learned that even in the darkest moments, love and forgiveness can heal even the deepest wounds. Months passed, and Carla's daughter seemed to be doing better. She was getting good grades in school, spending more time with positive friends, and even talking about going to college. Carla was proud of her daughter and happy to see her thriving. But there was still a part of her that worried, that feared that her daughter would slip back into old habits and fall into the wrong crowd again. One day, Carla noticed strange stains on her daughter's dress. At first, she assumed it was just dirt or spilled food, but as she looked closer, she realized that the stains were something else entirely. Her heart raced as she realized what the stains were. She felt sick to her stomach and turned pale. Carla couldn't believe it. After everything they had been through, after all the work they had done to build trust and communication, her daughter had gone back to her old ways. She wanted to confront her daughter, to yell at her and demand an explanation. But she also knew that this approach wouldn't help anything. She needed to be calm, to think things through, and to find a way to help her daughter without pushing her away. Carla took a deep breath and called her daughter into the room. She sat her down and gently asked her about the stains on her dress. At first, her daughter denied everything, claiming that it was just a spill. But as Carla pressed her further, she finally broke down and confessed. She had fallen back into her old habits, hanging out with the wrong crowd and experimenting with drugs. She had been using for weeks, hiding it from her mother and lying about where she was going and who she was with. Carla felt a mix of anger, sadness, and fear. She didn't know what to do. She wanted to protect her daughter, to save her from this dangerous path, but she also didn't want to lose her trust and push her further away. They talked for hours, crying and sharing their feelings. Carla listened to her daughter's story, trying to understand her perspective and figure out how to help her. In the end, they decided to seek professional help. They found a therapist who specialized in addiction and started attending weekly sessions together. It wasn't easy, but they worked through their issues and found a way to support each other. Carla's daughter got clean and stayed clean, and they rebuilt their relationship on a foundation of trust and open communication. Carla learned that sometimes the hardest thing to do as a parent is to let go and seek help. But she also learned that with love, support, and perseverance, anything is possible. Together, Carla and her daughter continued their journey towards healing and recovery. They attended therapy sessions every week where they worked through their issues and learned new coping mechanisms. Carla was proud of her daughter's progress. She could see how much she had grown and how hard she was working to stay clean. But there were still moments of fear and uncertainty. Carla worried that her daughter would relapse, that she would fall back into old habits and undo all the progress they had made. One day, as they were walking home from a therapy session, Carla noticed that her daughter seemed distant and distracted. She wasn't talking as much as usual and seemed lost in her own thoughts. Carla asked her what was wrong, but her daughter didn't want to talk about it. She just said that she was tired and needed some rest. Carla felt a knot in her stomach. She knew that her daughter was hiding something, that there was something going on that she wasn't telling her. She didn't want to push her daughter too hard, but she also didn't want to ignore her intuition. She decided to keep a closer eye on her daughter, to check in more often and make sure she was okay. As the weeks went on, Carla noticed more and more signs that her daughter was struggling. She was moody and irritable, skipping classes and missing therapy sessions. Carla tried to be patient and understanding, but she also knew that she needed to intervene. She called the therapist and arranged an emergency session, hoping that they could figure out what was going on and find a way to help her daughter. At the session, her daughter broke down and admitted that she had relapsed. She had been using drugs again, hiding it from her mother and lying about where she was going and who she was with. Carla felt a wave of emotions. She was angry, frustrated, and heartbroken. But she also knew that she couldn't give up on her daughter. She needed to be there for her, to support her through this difficult time. They went back to therapy, restarting the process of recovery and healing. It wasn't easy, but they were determined to keep going, to work through their issues and rebuild their relationship once again. Carla learned that recovery isn't a straight line, that there are ups and downs along the way. But she also learned that with love, support, and perseverance, anything is possible. Months passed and Carla's daughter continued to make progress in her recovery. She was attending therapy regularly, staying clean, and making plans for her future. Carla was proud of her daughter's hard work and dedication. She could see the light in her eyes again, the hope for a better life. But there was still a nagging worry in Carla's mind. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was still not right, that there was a piece of the puzzle missing. One day, as she was doing laundry, Carla noticed something strange on her daughter's dress. There were small spots of blood on the fabric, scattered in a strange pattern. Carla's heart skipped a beat. She knew what those spots meant. They were a sign that her daughter had been cutting herself. She felt sick to her stomach, a mixture of fear and disbelief. How could she have missed this? How could her daughter have kept something so important a secret? Carla confronted her daughter gently, asking her about the spots on her dress. At first, her daughter denied knowing anything about them, but eventually, she broke down and admitted the truth. She had been cutting herself, using it as a coping mechanism to deal with the stress and anxiety of recovery. She was ashamed and afraid, but also relieved to finally be able to talk about it. Carla listened to her daughter's story with tears in her eyes. She couldn't believe how much pain her daughter had been carrying, how much she had been struggling on her own. But she also knew that they needed to address this issue, to get her daughter the help she needed to overcome this challenge. They went back to therapy, working with a specialized counselor who had experience with self-harm. It was a difficult process, but with time and patience, they were able to make progress. Carla learned that recovery is not just about staying clean, but about addressing all the underlying issues that led to addiction in the first place. She learned to be more vigilant, to pay closer attention to her daughter's needs and emotions. And most of all, she learned the power of love and support, of being there for someone through their darkest moments. As the weeks went by, Carla's daughter slowly began to heal from her self-harm addiction. She stopped cutting herself and found new ways to cope with her emotions. Carla was proud of her daughter's progress and felt grateful for the support and guidance they had received. She knew that the road to recovery was a long one, but she felt confident that they were on the right path. One day, while Carla was at work, she received a call from her daughter's therapist. She immediately felt a knot form in her stomach, afraid that something had gone wrong. But the therapist's voice was calm and reassuring. She told Carla that her daughter had made a breakthrough in therapy, that she had opened up about something she had been keeping hidden for a long time. Carla's heart pounded in her chest. She felt a mix of excitement and apprehension, unsure of what her daughter could have revealed. When Carla got home, her daughter was waiting for her. She had a serious look on her face, but also a sense of relief. "Mom, there's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Carla sat down next to her daughter, taking her hand. She looked into her daughter's eyes, trying to convey her love and support. "It's okay, you can tell me anything," Carla said, her voice gentle. Her daughter took a deep breath, then began to speak. "I've been struggling with my identity, Mom. I don't feel like I fit into a box, like I'm either this or that. I've been afraid to tell you, afraid that you wouldn't understand." Carla's heart went out to her daughter. She could see the pain and confusion in her eyes, the fear of rejection. But Carla also knew that love was stronger than fear. She hugged her daughter tightly, whispering words of encouragement and acceptance. "You don't have to fit into a box, my dear. You can be whoever you want to be, whoever you feel inside. I love you for who you are, not for any label or category." Her daughter looked up at her with tears in her eyes, a sense of relief and gratitude. "Thank you, Mom. I needed to hear that," she said, her voice choked with emotion. Carla knew that there would be more challenges to come, more moments of fear and uncertainty. But she also knew that they would face them together, with love and support. In the weeks following her daughter's revelation, Carla noticed a change in her. She seemed more confident, more at peace with herself. Carla felt proud of her daughter for being brave enough to share her truth. But there were also moments of doubt and fear. Carla worried about how others would react to her daughter's identity, how they would treat her. She talked to her daughter's therapist, seeking advice and guidance. The therapist reassured her that they would work together to create a safe and supportive environment for her daughter. Carla also did her own research, learning about the experiences of people with similar identities to her daughter's. She wanted to be as informed and understanding as possible. One day, while they were out shopping, Carla's daughter pointed to a dress in a store window. It was a brightly colored, flowing dress with a bold pattern. "Mom, can I try that on?" she asked, her eyes shining. Carla smiled and nodded, feeling a sense of joy and acceptance. She followed her daughter into the store, watching as she selected the dress from the rack. As her daughter tried on the dress, spinning around in front of the mirror, Carla felt a sense of pride and happiness. She knew that this was just a small step on her daughter's journey, but it felt like a significant one. "Mom, what do you think?" her daughter asked, twirling around. Carla looked at her daughter with love and acceptance. "You look beautiful," she said, feeling her heart swell with love. Her daughter grinned, a sense of freedom and joy evident in her expression. "Thank you, Mom. I feel beautiful too." As they left the store, Carla felt a renewed sense of hope. She knew that there would be challenges and obstacles ahead, but she also knew that they could face them together, with love and understanding. She hugged her daughter tightly, feeling grateful for her presence in her life. "I love you," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "I love you too, Mom," her daughter replied, smiling up at her. Carla knew that there would be moments of struggle and difficulty, but she was also confident that they could get through them as a family. As they walked back to their car, Carla took her daughter's hand, feeling a sense of closeness and connection. They drove home in comfortable silence, the radio playing softly in the background. Carla felt a sense of peace and contentment, knowing that they were moving forward together, one step at a time. When they arrived home, Carla's daughter ran inside, eager to show her new dress to her siblings. Carla smiled, feeling a sense of joy and gratitude for the beautiful family that she had. As she walked into her home, she knew that there would be many challenges ahead, but also many moments of happiness and love. For Carla, the most important thing was that they were facing them together, with love, acceptance, and understanding. In the days and weeks that followed, Carla and her daughter continued to have conversations about her identity and what it meant for her future. They talked about school, friendships, and relationships, exploring the different challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. Carla's daughter was excited to start a new school year, eager to be her authentic self with her friends and classmates. Carla supported her every step of the way, attending meetings with school administrators and teachers to ensure that her daughter would have a safe and supportive environment in which to learn and grow. As the school year began, Carla watched her daughter with pride and admiration. She saw her making new friends, participating in school activities, and thriving in her classes. Carla knew that there would be bumps along the way, but she was also confident that they could handle them together as a family. One evening, as they sat around the dinner table, Carla's daughter shared a story about a boy in her class who had made fun of her for her identity. Carla felt a sense of anger and frustration, but also knew that it was an opportunity for her daughter to learn how to handle difficult situations. Together, they talked about different ways that she could respond, exploring the options and considering the potential consequences of each. Carla's daughter listened intently, nodding as she absorbed the advice and guidance. "Thanks, Mom," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. Carla smiled, feeling a sense of closeness and connection with her daughter. "You're welcome, sweetheart. We're in this together." As the months went by, Carla's daughter continued to grow and thrive, exploring new opportunities and embracing her identity with confidence and pride. Carla watched with amazement and joy, feeling grateful for the beautiful family that she had. She knew that there would be challenges ahead, but also knew that they could face them together, with love and understanding. One day, as Carla was going through her daughter's closet, she noticed something strange on one of her dresses. At first, she thought it was a stain and scolded her daughter for not taking better care of her clothes. But as she looked closer, she realized with a shock what it actually was. Her heart sank as she thought about what it meant, and what her daughter must have gone through. She turned pale, feeling a sense of sadness and fear. Carla's mind raced as she tried to process the implications of what she had just discovered. She felt a sense of helplessness, unsure of how to support her daughter in this new challenge. But she also knew that she couldn't ignore it or sweep it under the rug. She needed to face it head-on for the sake of her daughter's well-being. With a heavy heart, Carla sat down with her daughter and shared what she had found. Her daughter's face turned red with embarrassment and shame, but Carla reassured her that she loved her no matter what. Together, they talked about what it meant and what they needed to do next. They discussed therapy, counseling, and support groups, exploring the different options and weighing the pros and cons of each. Carla's daughter was hesitant at first, but eventually agreed to try therapy. Carla promised to be there with her every step of the way, supporting her and loving her unconditionally. Over the coming months, they attended therapy sessions together, exploring the root causes of her daughter's struggles and working through them with the help of a trained professional. Carla watched with pride as her daughter slowly but surely began to heal, gaining confidence and strength with each passing day. She knew that there would be challenges ahead, but also knew that they were in it together, as a family. As time went on, Carla's daughter continued to make progress, growing stronger and more confident with each passing day. She developed a close relationship with her therapist and began to open up more about her experiences and struggles. Carla was grateful to see her daughter thriving and proud of the courage and resilience she had shown in the face of adversity. But she also knew that there would be setbacks along the way, and that they needed to be prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. One day, Carla's daughter came home from school in tears, upset about a hurtful comment that someone had made about her. Carla felt a sense of anger and frustration, wanting to protect her daughter from the cruelty of the world. But she also knew that they needed to find a way to move forward and not let the negativity hold them back. Together, they talked through the incident, exploring different ways to respond and cope with the hurtful words. Carla reminded her daughter of her strength and resilience, and encouraged her to keep her head held high and not let others bring her down. Over time, Carla's daughter learned to stand up for herself and assert her boundaries, developing a newfound sense of confidence and self-assuredness. Carla was proud of the young woman her daughter was becoming and grateful for the lessons they had learned together along the way. As the years passed, Carla's daughter continued to grow and thrive, becoming more and more confident in herself and her abilities. She graduated from high school with honors and went on to pursue her dreams in college. Carla watched with pride as her daughter embraced new opportunities and challenges, never letting her past struggles hold her back. Together, they had faced some of the toughest moments of their lives, but had emerged stronger and more resilient as a result. Carla knew that she had played an important role in her daughter's journey, providing support and guidance when it was needed most. But she also recognized that her daughter's success was ultimately a testament to her own strength and determination, and the unwavering love and support of their family. Looking back on their journey, Carla felt grateful for the lessons they had learned together and proud of the young woman her daughter had become. She knew that there would still be challenges ahead, but felt confident that they could face them together as a family. That's all. Write a comment, subscribe to the channel, and like this video. Also send me your stories, and they will be voiced in the next video.